Dreamcore. Distant crackling and a low tone that isn't quite music, all distorted by VHS sound. That's the sound of memories, if you ask me. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dreamcore. One of my favorite liminal space games because it really understands what makes liminal spaces scary. And it's really on an existential level. There's no entities, there's no horrible monsters or levels with rules. It's all just about being in a space that makes no sense and is seemingly endless. Not just large in scale, but just seems to embody the concept of eternity. In other words, it's kind of like exploring the foggiest parts of your earliest memories. The kinds of things that have been images in your head for so long, yet you can't place where you would have seen them. And you wonder if you ever really did at all, and if not, where they came from. This launched with 2 levels, those being Dream Pools and Eternal Suburbia. However, the plan was to roll out 3 maps over time. I'm not quite sure what this last one will be, but the next has now released, that being the Playrooms. Now, besides having a really good handle on how to actually portray liminality, I'm also a really big fan of how the devs have decided to structure the game. Because if you look here, it's each 3 different levels. We're not progressing through a campaign. We didn't have to unlock them one by one. Each level is meant to be taken as its own distinct experience, a distinct style of liminality, a gallery for us to explore at our leisure. And so, maybe it's for the best that it's been a few months since the last time I played, because I'm sitting here in my room at 3 in the morning, and I'm ready to dream without dreaming. Beware of the sounds around you. Patience and observation are key. I guess we fell from there. Although, I imagine we have no idea how we ended up here. Looks like the slide broke our fall, but something always does. Still armed with our VHS camcorder? The Pastel Room. Now, the VHS effects, the style of this being almost these brightly colored plastic play places. I've been eagerly looking forward to this level because I think this is the kind of liminality that will probably most resonate with certainly myself and a lot of this audience. Now the question is, did that ball fall down with us, or was there something behind us when we landed? Can we mess with them? No, it doesn't seem so. Oh, that is blinding. I am blinking right now. Look at that. Any individual frame, you have to imagine as a photograph, and I think that's such a big part of liminality, is actually the feeling that you get from old photos, you know? Usually taken with a flash, and it makes the room look dark by comparison, especially the edges, the periphery. And it just adds an inherent sense of mystery about what's around the corner. Well, this is like walking around in an old photograph. Is that a security camera? Are we being watched? The nature of this all remains a mystery, and I suspect it always will. I mean, we're not here to learn. We're here to experience. Can we interact with this button? Doesn't seem to have done anything. Different colored lights, one of them on. Maybe we'll need to find some more and come back here. don't seem to have a flashlight. I think we had to find one in the pool rooms. Alright, well, there's light over here, so this is an obvious first choice, although that could change at any time. It changed. Now, this is something... Ooh. Oh, the scale of this. I feel like a tiny toy in a big dollhouse. A ball pit? Ah, we can't jump into the ball pit. Toys room. But wait, out there. It's not what I thought it was, but it is something equally unnerving. Look. At first, it seems like windows in an adjacent building, that little slice of familiarity. But it's just a bunch of equally sized carve-outs extending too far back for us to tell. Toys room. Well, it's got a light next to it, so maybe it helps. No, it's locked. Let's keep going towards the light. Everywhere we go, there's different branching paths, and those branches have branches, and those branches have unnerving Teletubby hideout branches. And that's one of the biggest things that this game gets right, is that it is a labyrinth. It's not made for you to see everything. We probably won't see everything. It's just designed for us to keep seeing what catches our interest and moving forward, and rarely seeing the same thing twice. And if it does, well, maybe that means something. A ladder. See, it's these little things like this, little recognizable bits, that raise the most questions, somehow even more than all the strangeness. And, you know, I really feel like I've got to keep talking because the silence is the biggest killer here. It's like walking around in a retro-futuristic version of those Chuck E. Cheese jungle gyms, with all those tunnels with the glass observatory on the end. It really is like a nightmare you'd have about being trapped in one of those. Or dream about what buildings look like in the future. Now, the sort of plastic texture of everything, the bright colors, and of course the VHS look of our view. How can you not think of the 90s and the way fast food places and all things like that used to be done? You know, before they turned everything into retirement home colors. Before McDonald's looked like someplace you could have a business meeting. It was all stuff like this. Things were zany, and I think that's why stuff like this is so popular in liminality. It appeals to the generation that made that kind of thing popular. People who would have been kids in the 90s and early 2000s. I will not be heeding that sign. Maze room. All of these have got me so curious. And yet these are the ones that won't open for us. I mean, of course, all of this is rooted in nostalgia, and I've often wondered if things like this could actually be done, but would require a different presentation for different generations. I feel like by entering the circle, I would be accepting an invitation to play. I don't know, there's a superstitious part of my brain that just goes on alert and says, avoid the middle. And I realize it's probably just the way the graphics are rendered, but every time I round a corner, I think something else is moving away from me. It was just the tail end of it, but I do remember my fair share of Island of Misfit Toys toys. Probably because a lot of them were hand-me-downs from my parents, who had toys from the 60s. Stuff like this certainly haunted my dreams. Or what's worse is they didn't haunt my dreams until later. At the time, they were just toys. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's partly memories, maybe it's partly just looking at old photographs, since so many of these things have the style of imperfect quality. Maybe looking at old photographs actually alters our perception of our memories. Makes us recall a reality that didn't actually exist, but hey, stairs. A change in elevation could be nice. But yeah, the only thing we have is the hiss of the VHS tape, our footsteps, and the occasional peaking of our breath on the camera's mic. And that's pretty subtle unless there is actually a low wind in here. Whoa. You know, this is weird. I swear I had a dream that looked a lot like this once. And that seems to be a pretty common sentiment among people who watch these videos. It's a comment I've seen a lot. In my case, there would have been like a bouncy platform right here, almost like a trampoline, and I couldn't get off of it. I kept getting tossed up into the air and back down, and I would just brace for the falling feeling every time. I'm trying to maintain a sense of cardinal directions, because it's kind of all I have in a place like this. You know, at this point, there's a fine line between toys and a golden idol. Sometimes I look at things and I wonder, is it possible for an inanimate object to just end up here, same as me? But then some of those objects, you look at them and you're like, where would this have come from? But it is a landmark, so make a note of it. I think on some level I have a fear that this is what a potential afterlife would be like. Something like a dream where it's just constructed from nonsense, but you're all too aware that it's nonsense. Especially if the illusion isn't enough to actually satisfy what parts of your consciousness are intact. Now, little imperfections like this, a ladder tipped over. We unfortunately lack the dexterity to make use of it ourselves. I don't know, either going in there would be a very bad idea, or it's exactly what we need to do, and now we can't, thanks to some previous explorer. And the thing is, there are small, very vague hints that are far from confirmation that maybe others have been here before. Given the scale, maybe they're here now. But the more you ruminate on that, I think it might have been Arthur C. Clarke who wrote, "There are two possibilities, that we're alone in the universe or that we're not. Both are equally terrifying." That applies big time here. Part of me is excited for the prospect of meeting someone else, and another part feels like I should avoid them. And that would create an interesting situation, wouldn't it? I mean, were there multiple people in a situation like this? The odds of them ever encountering each other astronomically low. And they might, in those brief instances where they can hear each other, where they catch a glimpse of each other, be tempted to either flag them down or avoid them. It's all about uncertainty. Look at this. It's like you're intended to crawl under the bars and jump down into this shallow ball pit. It has the dual purpose of being exactly as if it's designed for children, and yet completely unlike being designed for children because of the lack of safety, the lack of discernment. One of the scariest ideas of the Backrooms is that you have no idea how to get there, and more importantly, how to get out. It's not like you open up a portal and then step through, although in some media I suppose it is. It could literally be as simple as rolling over the wrong way in bed, or opening and closing a door the right amount of times, and next thing you know, this is your life. And it doesn't take long for it to become hard to imagine anything else. Wait, is this the same one that I came upon before? I don't know. I've now seen multiple ladders in front of multiple tunnels, where before it gave me hope. Now I'm wondering if that alongside a ladder isn't just something that it comes up with. See, liminal spaces of this variety, they almost remind me of like an AI-generated environment, which is not to say that this game is AI-generated. It certainly isn't. But what I mean is that it's something that resembles something familiar, but created by something that isn't capable of understanding it, if you could even call it creation. Well, a different color is certainly a change of pace. Maybe it indicates progress, but by my calculation, we're just getting like deeper inward. I feel like I've gone far in one direction and then come back a bit. So it's like we've just gone to an inner layer of an onion. And yet it doesn't show any signs of getting smaller. Another cool thing about this is that I don't think it achieves this through non-Euclidean geometry. I'm pretty sure the map is 100% fixed. Wait, there's arrows pointing this way, but those arrows just stop. In fact, we've come in pushing against them. Oh, I see, they just lead outward. Here's a balcony. I can't tell if it's one that we've seen before, but it's one of them. The thing is, I have no sense of how much I've changed my elevation. You know, I'm pretty sure I've had nightmares about this, too. There's something about the green walls. It reminds me of... So, when I was small, one of my most watched movies was probably The Wizard of Oz, and I was always really afraid of the scene where they're in the Emerald City and they're walking down that big, long, green hallway to see the wizard. And it's scary, and there's thunderous noises echoing around, and there's fire bursting up from the sides. I don't know, I'm only now realizing I feel like that's given me a natural aversion to green in a place like this. Yep. These arrows are definitely just here to sow conflict in my mind. It's just stuff like this, it just really is a concerted attack on the part of the brain that looks for patterns and logic. In other words, the human part of the brain. Those deepest instincts. Why did I say insects? You know why? It's because I looked at that car and thought of children. Which doesn't... That doesn't help that it made me think insects. Hang on, I'm gonna go to therapy and come back. The reason it made me think of children was because it made me think of pieces, like in a car in the Game of Life. I don't mean that as like a metaphor. I mean the literal like board game, The Game of Life. When I was a kid, I figured out some exploit where you could like end up... I would just like farm kids basically and then sell them all to other players towards the end. Caution, stairway, use handrails. In those few moments where you speak to me in plain English, it just adds a whole other element of what is this place? I said that it attacks the pattern recognition part of the brain, and that is certainly true. But much like AI, to use that example again, it's recognizing patterns, but it doesn't apply any of the context that we would have. So it might say, okay, these go alongside these, in this case a fire escape, alongside windows. Except it doesn't know the purpose of a fire escape, and it doesn't know what windows are or buildings. And it sees that sign next to them a whole lot, but, well, it doesn't know what any of them mean. Because it doesn't know what anything means. It doesn't know. Remember the early days of generative AI, when all it could do was turn things into dogs? For once, I'm taking the most, or rather least inviting path. I mean, this whole game is just a screenshot generator, isn't it? I always think it's kind of funny that I'm hitting F12 when I'm literally recording, but you get the idea. The Sky Room. I feel like I must be doing something really wrong. But then again, each of these corresponds to a light, like a different color. A label like that, though, it only makes me really, really curious what's on the other side. It is pitch black in here. No benefit of ambient light here. Oh no. By the way, I have long since lost any sense of cardinal directions. Okay, this is the part where I start running. Part where the pace of my heart quickens a little bit and I realize that I really am in trouble. And that's why I think the backrooms don't need entities. Because the situation is scary enough on its own. Oh, I haven't forgotten you, not one bit. This game said no jump scares, and then you yes jump scared me. I mean, granted, it was very minor. The jump scare was mostly on my part. But still, you moved. You made a little squeaky sound. And we're back around. Back. But yeah, it's the kind of thing that if you ended up here, I imagine you would be very, very curious at first. Scared, I'm sure, because, you know, you're venturing into the unknown, and, well, the location itself is quite silent and unnerving, uncanny, some might say. But over time, your fear would be replaced with a genuine fear for your life. I mean, where do I get water? Where do I get food? Eventually, what seems like a perfectly calm situation suddenly becomes very desperate. We seem to have entered the blue rooms. I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get a flashlight. This game, historically, has only given me a flashlight when it was actually, like, needed. Why do I feel like that's where a king would address his subjects from? And the thing is, I don't imagine, like, a human monarch coming out of there. I think of, like, the puppets from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. For some reason, I associate liminal environments like this with puppets. And I think I can trace that back to a dream I had when I was, like, 3. I've talked about it a few times on the channel, but it's kind of a core memory. Being in a brightly colored house, actually not too unlike this. Only it was very small. There was like a living room, there was a kitchen with like a child gate up, and an open doorway to the left and right, but it was dark beyond them, much like these. And I remember I was there with my mom, and I thought she was uncharacteristically happy. It was off-putting. Is there something moving back there? Oh no, those are doorways. The toys room, we're on the other side of this thing. That's what I thought. But anyway, I remember seeing this little, like, hand puppet moose go around the corner, like a cute little thing. And it was all made of this, like, felty fabric, but it was peering from around the corner of the kitchen that I couldn't enter, and it was just quickly pulled back. And I remember being creeped out, like, is there a person holding that thing up, or is that actually, like, a guy? Like, is the moose a person? And I remember needing to go right, and intuitively knowing that there was a staircase up there, but being too creeped out to take the first steps. I don't know why that in particular has stuck with me for so long, but this is reminding me of it big time. This is different. See, the thing about this game is that you can't be too worried about the destination. We know we're looking for something, but so far the level design in these has sort of made it so that for as large and honestly indecipherable as this is, you just have to wander, you just have to let yourself flow, and you'll get there eventually. There's an open door down there. There's an open door! Okay. So we just need to figure out how to get down there. Whatever that is, it's gotta be important. I say to myself. The thing about liminal spaces is that you start desperately looking for anything that stands out. But half the time when you get there, you just realize that it leads to more of the same. I think this might be where I came from. Yep, I'm pretty sure it is, but if we follow this way with our new knowledge... Not at all, no. That's the sky room. But maybe there's some other way around? I'm desperate, and I'm just gonna be sticking to this side like glue. I mean, when I first entered this hallway, I couldn't help but think of like a wood floor and curtains along the sides. I don't know if any of you got the same impression. Let's try going a different way. Well, I guess I'm the king now. It's amazing. The path to get to this chamber could be miles and miles away from the path to get to this chamber. Proximity, physical distance, is no measure of anything. Sorry, I'm also listening out for music or the ding of an elevator. Sound is a big part of this game. It wasn't kidding. in the beginning. Anybody ready to play some Twister? It's got tables and polka dots. Could be all set up for a birthday party. Well, it's certainly a gathering of some variety. Hey there. I don't like how all of you seem to be glancing at me. I can't tell if it's an illusion or if your eyes really do follow me. In the pool rooms, there were actually eyes that followed you. Look at that, a giant Lego playset. I've seen things like this in real life, and, well, much like those, when you look towards the ceiling, the magic fades and it just becomes a bland industrial warehouse. What are you all waiting for? Now this feels equally like birthday place and, I don't know, hospital? Like the colors represent different sicknesses. Okay, let me explain to you. Let me explain what just happened there. I rounded the corner, and with the curvature of the doorway and that light, I thought some twisted appendage was there. No climbing over railing. After a while, it might become tempting. I started recording according to Audacity 40 minutes ago. Feels like it's been an eternity already. Tea party? If only we could take a seat. I think part of what's getting me is that none of these landmarks actually react to anything. There's no interactivity, there's no sound or acknowledgement, because there's not game mechanics. Well, there sort of are, but for the most part, it is just the space. It's going back to the core of this. And that's what's so good about it. Like, this and the complex games, especially Expedition, I think are some of the only two Backrooms games that actually understand what makes these things work. We've been here. We have been precisely here. And running back the other way, it feels like so far. Something about how much of a run these stairs have. Just back. That's the point where I do start to worry a bit. See, there are some landmarks and you take them in while you can. But ultimately, it's mostly just connective tissue. And well, the definition of a liminal space is a transitional space. So I suppose that's part of why it's so bad. The fact that you need to constantly be in a state of moving from one place to another with no idea of where you're going, where you're coming from, and when you'll get there. I don't see how I'm getting out of this loop. We've seen all this before. We've gotten peeks into those rooms. But I just have no idea how to actually open those doors, or if we can. Look at this. I don't know if these are elevated parts of the ground or if they're supposed to be like fallen ceiling tiles. But from a different ceiling entirely. What is that? Oh, I think that's another one of those holes. Will there be a ladder beside it? Not this one. I thought I saw something back here that I wanted to see, but now I can't remember. I got distracted. You know what the worst part about this room is? When you're entering from that angle, it's the shadows you'll see first. The uniformity, the perfection, and yet there's places where that's not the case. Hey, it's another one of these. Leading straight to here. It might actually be the same one of these. And imagine recovering this footage. I mean, this person missing for years, one day their camera just turns up, and suddenly you find yourself watching impossible footage on it. Raising so many questions you have no ability to answer. What's that over there? A key! Wait, I had no idea there were keys. I would have been looking on more tables. It's a red key. Now I wonder, has any of the doors been red? Oh God, if that's the case, if we really are meant to open these things, then we've got our work cut out for us. I need to get somewhere where I can even just see these things again. Oh hey, we made it to you guys. Can we push this along at all? Doesn't seem so. It's weird because the silence has me constantly on edge in the darkness through doorways. And it's simultaneously putting me to sleep. Hey there, Jeffrey. Oh, look at that smile that, when you really think about it, exists on either side of your face. If you were to make this real, it would be a horrifying creature. I was a Toys R Us kid. Please don't eat me. I gave you everything. I'm not sure what would be worse, slowly dying of dehydration in the back rooms, or over time, realizing that you don't have need for any of that. That you really will just persist forever and ever until you find your way out of an impossible situation. And the pattern-seeking part of your brain will constantly see things where there's nothing, trying to figure out what the secret is, ruminating over every little thing that was happening in the moments before you arrived. Of course, you'll never really have any more information than when you started. We're back. Oh no, have we seen this before? The castle room. That's a yellow door. Was the toys room anything? That's the question. It's been so long since I've seen it. I think maybe it might have been red? I mean, if I tried to explore this like a Gary's Mod map, it would be an uphill climb. Ah, we made it all the way back here. Great. Perfect. Okay, wait. Retrace our steps. We've been here. I know that we came from up here. There's only so much beyond that I'll be able to work out. But it's something. Maybe from now on we only follow things that look familiar. Well, that's going to be a tall order too. You got me again, but at least I know I'm going the right way. Three ball pits. And not a clown to be seen in any of them. So that's a pleasant surprise. As is this. The dollhouse feeling is certainly being amplified. Alright, I have to check this. It only leads us into the green maze. Okay, I would love to explore this from here. We will be back if we ever find this again. But I need to look at stuff like this. The lights come on for me when I get close. That staircase is pretty high up. It's like here we have our play staircases while the adults get to use their real stairs over there. That looks like there's maybe a window. Actually, when you look at it like this, and you see the darkness behind the archways, it gives the impressions of, like, looking out windows during the night. Okay, I saw you from this angle. Which means I may have come from here. It's crazy how, at this point, my goal isn't even to get out of the back rooms. It's to get back to where I started in the back rooms. Or, I should be calling them by their proper name, the Playrooms. Because remember, each of these is a distinct experience. I came out into here, which means I came from here. It's one of the earliest things I remember. Here we are, and here's the toys room. What a contrast. Look at this. This marble or granite tiles, sterile walls. It's like an office building or something, and that red door at the end of the hall. Well, you get the impression it would be even more jarring going the opposite way. But I'm happy for this. I crave any difference right now. But it's just one long esophagus connecting one side to the other. Welcome to the toys room. At what age did you stop playing with toys? For a second... Oh, the Pastel Room. Wait, so we were in the Pastel Room, which makes sense. That was the open door that we walked into from the slides. This place is, at a glance, deceptively small. But that little playhouse hides a single darkened doorway. It's so crazy. I mean, this is the kind of thing you only expect to see in like a 3D rendering or like an ad from a children's magazine or something. So when you step back here and you even see something as real as shadows, I don't know, it's like seeing a smiling face with a mask, but being able to see the wearer's frown from the periphery. Why are children's dreams so creepy like this? I mean, maybe I'm alone in this, but, you know, dreaming about something like this, something that they would love, some kind of ultimate play palace, but in the creepiest circumstances possible, you know, being left alone in a Chuck E. Cheese overnight or on the playground at school, but you're alone and the wind is howling and the swings are moving on their own. Well, let's see what the toys room is about. Here we are. Here we are in the brick room. And it's inviting us to get lost inside of it. You know, as a kid, I had a Lego game for the computer. It was like castle themed, and you could build all these fortresses to your liking, and then spawn in little NPCs and like siege machines to attack it. It was really, really cool. This sort of reminds me of when you could go into like this first-person view, I think, and walk around in it. I just know, anytime I talk about an old game like that, I know somebody's going to chime in and be like, oh, well, I know what game you're talking about, but you couldn't do that. And I'll be like, yep, it's just another one of those manufactured childhood memories. Just like this. Fun librarian fact, I was actually playing it as the clock struck midnight on January 1st, 2000. So, you know, that would have been a pretty funny time to get Y2K'd. Oh my. Not only can I not help but see faces in these houses, don't they look familiar? Wait, what is that over there? I can actually hear a sound like a motor humming. It is! It's a generator! Okay, in this miniaturized version of the suburbs, we gotta get over there. We can crouch under that. Might make it difficult to tell where we can and can't go until the moment we arrive. But certainly we need to see what that's about. Well, it doesn't seem to be connected to anything. but I'm very worried that the second we touch it, the lights will all go out. Then what'll we do? My preschool/kindergarten had this room they called Dome Room, and it was like an interior playground with these really high ceilings. I'm sure they're not as high as I remember, but they were like this in my memories, and it got dark towards the ceiling. Like, it just faded off until you couldn't see anything up there. And there were jungle gyms and bridges and murals on the walls and so much space in between. Activate generator. Now, see, here's the thing. Montrelose. I'm pretty sure that's the developer of the game. In fact, I'm going to Alt-Tab out for a second and see. Yeah. And so it sort of... It adds a meta level to this, because it attaches a name, a recognizable brand to what's going on here. And we think, like, is it some kind of scientific organization behind all this? A shady government? What is it? In fact, we did even enter a space in the suburbs that sort of hinted that maybe it is, but on a more Watsonian level to answer it, it's the developer. They created this, obviously. You've been activated. I heard the sounds of something switching on somewhere, multiple things echoing. Part of me wants to keep exploring, and another part feels like I should be backtracking, trying to make my way so that I get... I'm thinking maybe the shutter will open now, is what I'm saying. Even though there's no logical connection between these things. Look at these patterns on the floor. It's like one of those city play rugs. I had one. God, the way these things brought out the imagination, huh? It's like you could make infinite adventures out of that. Of course, these days we've evolved beyond the need for imagination, because we have video games and VR headsets. I'm acting like I wouldn't have been all over that stuff as a kid. Honestly, technology is exciting. I mean, I said that as like a sort of ironic tongue-in-cheek thing, but I want to be clear. All that stuff invites creativity. It's born of creativity. For a second, I couldn't unzoom. Oh, hey, it's one of these little wooden train sets with the magnetic bumpers to attach the cars together. And it looks like those cars are blocking some of our paths through. That's inconvenient. Well, I gotta say, we may be just as lost as ever, but there's certainly more to catch the eye than in the Pastel Room. The thing is, these balls are far from any ball pits. Does that imply that they were removed at some point? now we're running into a lot of doors, but they don't necessarily represent a transition to a new area. Or before, they were all locked. That first space took me like 45 minutes to find the end of. Oh, I think this is where we came from. At least I sort of hope so. We can get down from here. Yeah, no, this is where we went. So let's look this way. Once more, I'm not sure if checking out that generator means I should be backtracking or not, but either way, if I'm gonna end up there, I would rather end up from the other end of the hallway. It'd be a shame to rush the end of something like this, right? I say. Okay, we've achieved this, but this isn't what we want. We actually do have some freedom to fall here. Presumably because it actually wouldn't matter. The ground is padded. It's even got those popsicle stick walls. I think all I've done is loop myself around. Yep. Yep. Okay. So let's try going right then. Oh, there's another door there. Just barely the attempt. Barely the attempt at a false atmosphere. But the scale of the room and its emptiness betray it. You know, there's something to be said about the tall ceilings. The fact that everything, even the toys, are so much bigger than us. It's putting us in the role of a child again. The way we would have dreamed about these things. It's like some kind of weird Dr. Seuss land, but all is not well here. Overturned play trucks. So back in those days, if you were a kid with a truck the size of yourself, you were a high roller. Okay, part of me feels like I should be doing the thing every kid did when they got a little older, which is like putting one leg in the bed of this and then using the other leg to push off and using it as a little skateboard. It wasn't smart, but we did it. I want to go on the bounce castle. I want to go on the bounce castle. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Yep. Oh. Unfortunately, the game has not blessed us with a jump button. Now this is what the afterlife is like, you know, if you were bad. All the bounce castles and trampolines you can ask for. And yet your knees betray you. Alright, there's a door back there and we're gonna check it out, but first... let's see what's over here. I feel like I need to reach into your mouth, but I also feel like I don't. Oh, hey, this we can climb? Whee! I feel like I should have gotten an achievement for that. We can crawl through here. I mean, look at this. I'm engaging. I'm engaging with the world you've created. Aren't you happy? Even these designs are like a kid took a marker and scribbled all over the walls. Oh, hey there. Glad to see you made it forward. Although, no, I don't think it was a rocking horse earlier, was it? Or, I don't even remember now. It's one of these! Oh, we can't go inside, and... were this a different kind of game, there'd be a jump scare waiting to try. The maze room. Perhaps it's another key we're looking for. Okay, I think at this point it would be wise to go check that other door. The one we saw a couple rooms back. The key's not on your seat, is it? No. I remember we had a little rocking horse. I'll probably end up filming it to make a bumper, out of it. I keep realizing I'm not just gonna mute myself. Hello, oddly out-of-place couch. I keep realizing I'm probably going to show this like mostly uncut given the nature of the game, so I'm not just going to mute myself anytime I stumble over my words. I'm probably going to make a bumper out of this old rocking horse we had. It was not meant to be ridden on. It was for decoration only, but I was small enough to ride on it. It's really old and weird. I think this is the other end of that hallway. There's our entrance. That looks like it may be someplace new. Then again, this whole video could be summed up by me saying that over and over and being wrong. Wait. A plane? Or rather, a model plane. I had a couple of these hanging from my ceiling. There's the flipped over trucks again. So we've made a big old circle. Maybe there's something to be done here? Nope. Nope. And I had noted before that there is another tunnel here. It's like each place is its own little contained reality, and these bricks act as a portal between them. At times it feels like we've shrunken down to toy size, like I'm playing Army Men Sarge's Heroes. Remember those video games where you literally play as the little green plastic toys? They're actually pretty good. Ooh. The Sky Room. It's easy to think you've just moved on when you get to a new area, but little things like that make us realize that it is all one space. And it all just weaves around and around itself. I'm just moving around trying to make a note of various landmarks. But the biggest thing to keep an eye out for is going to be tables, furnitures, anything that stands out. Because anything that stands out may be hiding a key. I think that's where we were. It's kind of like I was saying before, physical proximity is no measure of closeness. Because a while back we were on the other side of this wall. It'd be very difficult for me to get back there now. It took so long to get here. This is very interconnected. Did I come through here the first time? I think I maybe did. amid tall buildings. And tall stairs. I feel it's weird. I've had the strange feeling that I've been shrinking as I've been playing. Like, I started off feeling fairly normal, and now, I don't know. That just led us back here. I don't think I've seen this yet. That's the kind of thing that looks cool, and so you start wondering if it's maybe turned slightly while you were looking away. Alright, can we climb up here? We cannot. Can we use the slide as a ramp? We can. Only works in reverse. These trucks are kind of the central hub that I keep coming back to. But unless one of you has a key in the bed, that doesn't really help me. You again. A constant. I wonder if there's anything to that. I have been walking around forever and I cannot find anything over there. I have looked at everything multiple times to the point where I know it very well, so I just have to work under the assumption that there's something back here, and I never went this way off the path from the start. Although I guess I did. Well, this is new. Huh. Look at that. Untextured blocks. This thing is like part way between a chair or a bench and a crib. So, I don't know, maybe the untexturedness could be a reference to the fact that this is ultimately a video game. Have we seen this? Probably, but not from this angle. That's new. That's new. It doesn't even look like a play place like the Lego bricks. It's more like the intro to a 90s VHS tape. Okay. Well, if we're in a new area of the Pastel Rooms, maybe we can find new things. I've never seen that happen before. Wow, and you actually do fully disappear. I can walk where you were. Okay, this is someplace new. I think. Oh, look at all this. It's like a living room, well, built into a hallway. But it's like it resembles pictures on a wall. Alright, it's been a ridiculous amount of time, I'm not gonna lie, just wandering around. But it seems like we've finally found something new. Maybe I'm afraid to deviate from it too much because I'm worried I'll end up someplace not new. Like portholes on a ship. But these aren't lined with chairs. is just the other end. Been a long, long time since I've seen anything new, so this is sort of exciting. It's the ball pit rooms. And someplace we've seen, so that was fun while it lasted. I looked it up. I saw that there's 4 keys. 4 keys. All this time running around, I have found one. And they're all in the pastel rooms. That's what I learned. It's good to know that now. The game does not tell you this, so it's entirely possible to get a key and move on and not have any idea that what should be the new area actually contains none of what you need to progress. A ball pit in the dark. Just imagine. Hey, you. First prompt to crawl I've seen over here. Could there be something this way? Here's a key. White. But remember, we were told 4 keys, so we've got to find them all. There's no point in moving on until we do. Oh yeah, so that's the red key. I restarted. As awful as it was, I restarted because there are not a lot of posts on this game. Even though it is fairly popular, there's just not a lot of discussion. And I've gotten here for the first time. I restarted because the keys, their spawns, are also RNG. So, you know, a guide can't even really help. So I figured if I just re-roll, maybe they'll be in different places. Now we know that they spawn on top of those cabinets. I'm still keeping an eye out elsewhere. The maze room will be a green key. Right now we have red and white. Presumably that gets us into the sky room. See, I don't think it's going to be on any of these red tables. I'm still going to check them just in case. But as far as I know, the dresser that it's on won't spawn if there's no key, right? Oh, have we found something else? Green key. Now I think we're just looking for a yellow one. I would say that it gets old running around looking at nondescript rooms real fast, but it doesn't. I mean, I did not start to feel this way until really after we had finished exploring the... Which one did we unlock? The toys room? I was fully into this. The problem that this one has is that it's leaning far too much into finding specific features. And that's completely the opposite of how the previous two behaved, where I didn't really feel this way until like the very end of Suburbia, that last stage. See, in the first maps, you were only ever in pursuit of one objective at a time. And that objective would play a sound cue when you were close. So you would spend a lot of time exploring around, and you were kind of encouraged to wander, to see new things, and to double back if you found something that you'd already seen before, because you knew that if you were close, you'd have been able to hear it. And so, the whole point of having to find something at all in what is supposed to be an exploration-based game was to keep you exploring. It was to make sure that you don't just make a beeline accidentally straight for the exit and end up having a really short experience. Here, there is no sound cue for the keys. You have to specifically look onto those rooms. And it's different every time, so a guide can't help you. And that's really annoying because it does the opposite. It practically guarantees that you will have to see everything and retread the same ground over and over and over until you actually get all that you need to progress. And even worse than that, if the online statements are to be believed, they are all in the pastels area, which I believe I found 3 so far. So if you do what I did and say, okay, I found the key, I haven't found anything else in the entire 45 minutes I've been walking around, so I probably need to take that and move on to the next available area and look for stuff, you'll be completely out of luck. You'll be spending so much time in the next area you unlocked that you'll have no idea there's nothing for you to find there. And so this map, or at least this really obnoxious starting area, has the exact opposite of the philosophy of the first 2 maps, where before the searching was in the service of exploration. Here, it's the exploration is in service of the searching, and that is not fun. That is a recipe for boredom. Oh, hey, have I found the waiting room? I've certainly done a lot of waiting. I have officially spent more time looking for these keys than it took me to complete the entirety of the first 2 levels combined. Like, I'm guessing the way it works is that each area has a generator that needs to be powered on so that we can go back and open that shutter. Why do we need more than that? Why couldn't the pastel rooms just also have a generator that we then go and locate? That allows us to move on to the toy room, and then we just do that sequentially, taking each area as we go. That would mean that we have to spend a decent amount of time in each space. We would have a sound cue to let us know when we're close to a solution, and then we could move on and do the next thing. Alright, look. I had wanted to save visiting any other rooms until after I found all the keys. Right now I have all but the yellow key. But everything I've been reading says that the maze room is like the worst part of the game. So maybe it would be better to get this out of the way first and then explore the rest. I don't know if the generators spawn in the same places every time. So I guess we'll find out when we go back to the toys room. Welcome to the maze room. Did you get lost a lot when you were a child? Look at this. It is like those netting cages. And of course, trailing off into dark. So far, so good. Oh, but that's gonna be awful. Yeah, no, I'm thinking darkness is the name of the game. I think in childhood, it really is just our first thought a lot of the time. When you're in a playground or one of these things and you think, what would it be like to be here after hours? And I think there's 2 sides to it. I think the first side is when you think, I could have the whole place to myself. And the second is, man, that would be really creepy. Okay, so we're moving slowly and in the dark. I think I'm already... If it really expects us to do it this way... Okay, no, there's at least contrast. I really... We're pretty slow to begin with, so this is kinda... I hope it's not like this too much. look at that. It's a second, even bigger room. It's kind of like we go into the tubes and it's like a portal to another completely different place. And I can see more of them up there. So what happens if we go through these doors? That's a white door. You guys are new. This one's completely dark. Oh my god, if there's one thing I love about the design of this world, it's the use of archways, the use of lighting around corners, and how it creates all these interesting shadows. Stylistically, it is by far, I think, the most pretty and interesting to look at. And that's true of every area. Oh my god, I can't see a thing though. This would be a place that would definitely benefit from a flashlight. There's enough contrast to keep me going, but I don't know how much there'll be for you to see. And remember, it'll be darker for you than it is for me. Or potentially brighter, because I am quite certain I'm gonna have to use my levels filter. This whole game was already a maze, and you went and stuck a maze on top of it. I am not looking forward to finishing this and having to go back to looking for keys. But at least I finally have something to talk about again. At this rate, I'm going to be cutting like 2/3 of everything I've recorded so far. Still, other horror games have done these style of location before, but I've never seen it done quite in the way it should be, and I think this is closer to it. Because when you're a kid, these things are overwhelming, and this is just that scaled up to strike the same fear in an adult, and that's really something worth commending in the map design. Okay, we've made it to the other side. I don't want to spend too much time roaming around in tubes unless I have to. I'm not Mario, after all. This is more like the lower floors of a hotel. It's in moments like this, in the darkness, staring up at a mural, that I notice the hiss again. Okay, so there is sort of ground level access to each of these, and as with most things, they're color-coded. That's there so that we get some sense of where we are. And this is dark so that we can't. Oh god, it would be like impossible to get back to that door. There is no ambient light from us whatsoever, but it seems like it just goes in a loop. Or no. No, this is similar to where we came from, but I don't think it's quite the same. Is it? Maybe. I just can't tell. Unless we came from here, I just don't know. Okay, we're gonna try going through the purple area. It's not where we started, but I figured it wasn't gonna be this easy. So, in we go. Can we not get over there? Oh, actually, it looks like we can. Question, is there going to be any reason to? It is, Because of this VHS filter, I can't actually look through the netting and see what I need to do, though. It doesn't seem like I can walk up there. Can't do any of the climbing that I probably should be able to. I'm not seeing a real way to do it. Here, wait, no. We would need to get up to the upper level, and then there's a corner around there. Oh, down into the dark again. I was looking at that tube, and I was thinking, even if we could get there, it would be from that green hallway. And we would have to do it, basically running into a dead end. So if anything, it might be good. I might be sparing myself some time. Down here in the back, there's like one central light source in each area. And you just get further and further from it the more you explore. For example, I'm certainly not near a light source right now. Okay, here. Is this the same one we were in before? I do not know. I just do not know. If we go up and down, we can get out. That's the Pastel Room. So let's try going out this way. Blue. A recognizable children's drawing, but it's gigantic. If we are to assume that this does just kind of take things from the real world, then, well, I guess somewhere at some time, that exact thing was drawn on a wall. I mean, we've seen what this place does when it doesn't lift exactly. This right here. This might lead to what I was just looking at. Nope. I feel like we've got to take advantage of the netting. I also don't know where that window leads. Look at that. There's giant speakers on top. Imagine if there were actually music playing throughout this place, but then again, does it even know what that would be? If I were to tear electronics found here apart, would I find any electronics inside, or would it just be something that looks like it? Alright, I guess we're going through here then. I would really, 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 really like a flashlight. It's back the way we came. This way. Green. Every once in a while, that rumble makes me think that something has started to happen. This would be a true nightmare if there were entities here. But this game, in general, its whole thing is that it has far more restraint than that. I've yet to hear anything like the generator, though. Which kind of makes me think there must be something, like, very specific. There must be somewhere we're trying to get to. The more complicated these things get, the more worried I am that it's something that could be very easily missed. Okay, there's no. that? Wait. We can drop down here. Hang on. There's like a whole alley here. Is that where I came in from? There's certain areas where we can fall, but we can't do any climbing. I'm not sure if I came in this way or not. There is a blue wall right there. Look at this. A couple of these little stairways down here. Imagine if one of the keys was just under that arch. Alright, this is more of a yellow and blue space. And some green. So, okay, so this one is dedicated to defying classification. Man, the VHS effect is not playing nice with this netting. Crawling under the bridge. In the dark. I mean, I have been to places that had something like this, or at least something that I perceived to be like this. Well, not to this extent, obviously, but I have been in, like, big versions of these, and they are wild. Of course, those are usually at, like, public places where there'd be, like, 100 kids running around in them at once. When you're all on your own, it's a different mood. Climbing higher up is usually a good goal to have in situations like this. Of course, for all I know, I'm doing everything I need to do in reverse. Unless I know where I'm going, I can't know if I'm getting closer. I should have known that something that calls itself the maze in this game would be really, really problematic. I think we may be getting close, though. No, are we back where we started? No, I think that's where I climbed through. Because now we're going this way. You are going to be on the path, and there's nothing much you can do about it. Down here, we're out. And that's the door to the castle, which we do not have the key to. Hey, look at that. There's another exit here. I think it'll do us good to look at the walls. I mean, you get so engrossed in the maze inside the nets, it's good to look around at the greater structure. This big, empty, great hall. The constant back and forth between, you know, narrow scale and monumental size. I do definitely think it works in its favor. There's a door there. Oh, hey. Familiar carpet. But is this what we need? Oh my god, it is so dark. Seems we're in a chamber much like the others. I hear the generator. It's in here. Okay, cool, cool, cool. See, now, this is precisely what I'm talking about. Everybody I've seen on Steam and on the subreddit, everybody's saying, man, screw the maze. And I'm just sitting here like, well, it was tough to get here, but it's not really been any more difficult than anything else I've done in this game. Might be a challenge to actually get to the middle there. But we found it. I know what I'm doing now. And it's kind of designed in a way where as long as you wander around, as long as you explore, you will get where you're going eventually. That was how the other maps worked as well. The keys are what completely dodges that entire thing. Not only do they not have that advantage, they seem to be trying to completely go in the opposite direction, which is really, really bizarre. I'm so lost in the dark, though. I think I'm back where I came from. We've just got to untangle this one last thing. And this filter is not helping us. I'm guessing we have to come down the slide over there. So we need to figure out how we do that. I think we need to go up to go down. So let's do that first. We can come down again over here. I think this might be where we entered. Oh, it's so hard to tell. We've pretty much made our way all the way around. Please, just anything to go up a level. You can't see in some of these places. And that's what got us upward. If you miss that, like, you could be totally screwed. It's weird. I'm in the part that everyone seems to hate, and the only thing at the back of my mind is, man, I am not looking forward to going on the hunt for that yellow key again. What has this done to me where I actually enjoy these moments where I'm walking around in this part on the outskirts and I'm just... It's like enjoying a nice summer walk along the boardwalk. It's like the sun beating down on me. I can feel its warmth. I do imagine that this whole place would be just slightly chilly. I'm gonna go back because I sort of feel like maybe I can find a slide this way. Well, I can go down here, which isn't really what I want. Slide up here. Gets us back on our level at least. This VHS filter is really making it more difficult than maybe is even intentional, though. Like, these are not my eyes. A person would not have this problem. I think this might be it. This might be it. Yes! Oh my god, yes! Hey there, maze generator? We've got you. Now we get to find our way back out, although it does look like there may have been multiple ways to do this, so that's good. Okay, we actually found our way out pretty much immediately, so that's nice. I can't know if it's the same door or not, but either way... Oh, it most definitely is not the same door. But you know what? That's alright. It's alright. Now all we have to do is get back. I do recognize this, so we're back to here. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm not seeing too many people, like just a couple of people talk about confusion with the keys, and everyone talking about how horrible finding the generator in the maze was. Okay, from green to blue. We're making some backtracking progress. Yeah, somebody wasn't kidding when they said that getting out is worse than going in. Back to here. Hey, remember 2.5 hours ago? Those were fun times. I believe for you, that was roughly back when we were finished exploring TheToysRoom. But once we're back at Pastel, we can turn on some other generators. Thankfully, I know this place fairly well. I can navigate somewhat by landmarks. Not that that's done me any good in finding the keys. This is new. I haven't seen either side of this cut-through before. And believe me, I would know. I've been pirouetting around every room I've been through for the past couple hours. Please. Please, another key. Well, this is the first time I think we've been on this bridge. Huh. I think we've seen something like this elsewhere. Just a circle on the wall, no window. Like it wants to have one. Nothing here. We've already got this one. Was excited for a second. Oh my god, it's right here in the dark. I don't think I would have seen it anyway, though. I don't think I've been here. But okay, yeah, no, and I definitely know I haven't because I've only just realized there are 2 of these spiral staircases. But, you know what? I think we finally, at the 4-hour and 10-minute record session mark, I think we have all we need. And hey, you know what else? We've actually gotten ourselves a little present. we went and did the maze anyway, so where before that was kind of the thing hanging over me, the thing I was dreading. Now, all we have to do is explore. Alright, you. We can use you as a landmark. We do have to make our way back to the TheToysRoom entrance so that we can boot that generator one more time, and that's alright. That shouldn't be too bad. Just need to head over to the facsimile of the suburbs again. And it's at this point I really feel like I should bring it up. I have always said, in any horror game I played where we needed to, like, find an object in a maze or something, that mazes are boring. I can't stand them. So you would think that I would really hate Dreamcore on its face, but I haven't, because of the reasons that I talked about previously. Its design makes it so that you are there for the exploration. You want to see all the different corners of it. And it guides you along enough that it has a way of getting you out of there before it gets truly frustrating. Even the dreaded maze had that feature. These keys, though, the problem with these keys is that they demand that you see every corner. Where everything else, it was like, okay, it keeps you moving. And that was the whole point. Alright, we're back here. And we can enter the TheToysRoom. You know, I'm not sure if anything was influenced by RNG in the previous parts. The keys certainly are. That's gonna really screw up people's speedruns, huh? Seems like the Jenny is in the same spot, which makes sense considering there was a whole set piece for the other one. But I already know that I can do this, go back around through the hallway, and immediately exit through probably the Sky Room. I do like that it saves your progress periodically, both at key moments and just every once in a while I would notice it, maybe when I cross certain thresholds. Because it does mean that you don't have to do all this in one sitting. I, of course, have to, because, you know, I'm a YouTuber, and if I don't, the whole day is wasted. But, you know, difference between player experience and YouTube experience. I'm just going by memory and the fact that this area is actually fairly easy to navigate. From here, we should be able to enter the Sky Room. After all that, it feels like we're just breezing through it. Welcome to the Sky Room. Are you good enough to go to heaven? What a simple yet chilling question. At least the sun here isn't pink. There's something so cynical about having this big, bright cartoon sun with just a little circular lamp in the center. Well, we have lots of places to walk. You know, I understand it was the achievement that introduced it, but I'm glad it did because now it's on my mind. It's called the Sky Room, but it immediately likens it to heaven. Well, obviously we knew you were going to heaven. It's whether I belong here that's another question. Okay, well, let's not get crazy now. Not every yellow smiley face goes to heaven. In fact, I would wager most of them don't. Meanwhile, we've got these candy-striped poles just all over the place. And it's certainly no stranger to darkness either, even against the sky. Okay, so remember, what we're looking for here is things we've seen before. Oh, that echo in this chamber. Just think, just imagine, you could probably spit like a city block in here. There's just something about seeing all this and then looking up and seeing ceiling tiles. Well, while we're here, we may as well... Oh, come on. 0 out of 10. We can't climb the playground equipment? Not even this? But just look at how sparse it is. It's... Do you remember how depressing the Willy Wonka experience was? Somehow this is even worse than that. A couple of playthings that the kids would legitimately probably like. Delightfully painted walls. And a whole lot of empty space in between. I'm sorry, no, I have more to say about that. Hang on, I can't just let all of this pass up. I mean, there's the fact that it's under the observation window. I wasn't even thinking about that because I haven't been there in a while. Ooh, there's a door here, back to Pastel, directly under it. I mean, it really is just like... I think it's depressing because it's as if it's in a state where it's being cleared out. You don't see it as just a huge waste of space. It kind of, I guess, evokes memories of places that are gone, you know? Farewell, Sports Plus. Long Islanders will know what I'm talking about. I'm just curious to know where this comes out in the Pastel Rooms. Right here. Okay. Yeah, that was empty for... or that was unopenable for the longest time, so I'm having to get used to those connections. Now let's begin the sprint over here. I am hungry, and I'm realizing that after sprinting everywhere for 4 hours, my character must be starving. Especially if they're the same guy as the previous two. But it's basically stated it doesn't matter. You can see it that way if you want, but they are independent experiences, which is a philosophy I agree with. You see the face? It's a smiling cloud. Just ignore the line on the bottom right, and it's a snoring, smiling cloud. Weird how much comfort that gives me. Oh, hey. I think I found the smile room. That red ball tempts you inside. My left hand is actually starting to hurt from holding Shift W. There's a balcony up there. You know, it didn't seem like it at first, but this may actually be the largest map so far. Honestly, I'm terrified for what the other ones have in store. We can crawl through there. It's like walking down the maintenance hallways at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I wonder where he keeps the stash of dead kids from the pipes. Look at this, it's all set up like a restaurant or something, and I knew sooner or later we would find an Argentinian flag. Oh, they were so much less subtle about it, but this is the place. It's brightly lit, it's got some comfy chairs, a table, some balls to kick around. I can see myself just stopping for a while. Honestly, I've overlooked this so much, but these chairs play a critical role. I mean, everywhere else it's just hard floor to sit on, not even carpet. But I think changing colors usually indicate the way to go. It's like a heavenly glow until we step inside, and then we realize it's just the same electric lighting as anywhere. look at this. It's a parent's balcony. Just overlooking all the little tykes playing below. From a place on high. You remember back when you were in like daycare or like really early school, you would have those times where everybody's just kind of running around and playing, causing havoc in the room, and then the teacher or whoever the caregiver was would be up at their desk, and from your perspective, they may as well be in like a spy plane. It's like the colors of the tiles are all splitting off from each other. This would usually be the point where my dream is approaching its end. But after this, I think we've still got one more generator to activate. Can you just imagine the sensory overload? Watching a bunch of colored balls just bouncing and rolling down these already vibrant stairs? Vibrant's not the right word, it's a scatter of colors. And I can hear the generator. The illusion is sold. It's like I'm really outside. Breathe that fresh air. Every once in a while, we find just fencing, real fencing along the walls. And not that popsicle fencing like we had in the toy rooms. Okay, I think if we can start making our way downward, we'll get to where we're going. This is so cool. I mean, the false sky is something that we see in a lot of liminal space imagery. And it's done really, really well here. Because it's combining itself with, like, the green floors make it feel like grass. This is a place that invites frolicking. And yet, oh wow, I hadn't even thought of this. It's introducing an entirely new concept. Hallways through the sky, shadows in the sky, reflections on the sky. And right here is where we can make our exit to the castle room. That could not have been more convenient. So what do you say we don't let this opportunity go to waste? Let's have just a little peek. Just a little peek around the corner, knowing we can find our way back. Just to see a little bit more. A hill that rolls into a dead wall. So I take it this leads back to where we were a moment ago. Actually, no. It's a crawl space, or what seems like a crawl space. In reality, it's just brushing the top of my head. But it goes through total darkness. I'm not going to tempt fate too much. I am done making every effort to see everything, believe me. But I also don't want to leave too much left alone. And down here is under what I would dub the teacher's desk. Once we had the keys, do you see how quickly I was able to get back into the exploring mood? All right, let's not lose our progress. We know we have to go back through here. But as I was saying, yeah, like it's funny because obviously the decor is not going to fool you into thinking it's really outdoors. It's not realistic at all. But it does cause, like, a bit of conflict when... It's not that you see it as outdoors, it's that you don't see it as indoors, if that makes any sense. But this should be our final adventure. How many doors are there? Unlock all Playrooms doors. Welcome to Castle Room. Would you like to be a king? Heck yes, I would. I don't see a window, though. There's no window on these walls, meaning we're on a different side. And you know, I haven't thought about it in a long time, but it's hitting me in full force now. This is just making me feel so small. Even more so than a toddler. It's like I've reached toy status. Actually, in the distant light, those spires kind of looked like soldiers standing at attention. I mean, because I've only ever seen these things as like these little foam cutouts that kids can arrange on the floor. For it to be an entire fortress contained in a room. Food. Jell-O. The only real food I've seen! But even when we look at the closer details, some of these balloons are square. I wonder if they're even actually floating. Well, I guess they are, because there is some movement, I think. Drawings of castles. It's a party room. It's almost like it got that one area of the pastel rooms from copying the texture of that hat. A drawing of a cloud here. That's something that's really cool about this, where there were several styles present at different areas of the previous maps, where the pool rooms just had the pool rooms and the pool rooms dark. Then there were different types of suburbs versus the very dreamlike type that never really existed, and then those rows of apartments in two different flavors. Here, there's a huge variety of different things, all under the single theme of places that children would enjoy themselves. But it's like they borrow imagery from each other. I mean, those little tea room tables, the colored chairs and table, like, we've seen those in several places, and not just in the place where they make sense. And there's a lot of things like that. There's been cross-imagery, like obviously there were the sky rooms, and then the drawings of clouds on the walls back there. I started running, and the rumble was, for some reason, it seemed louder than usual. I don't even know what to make of these. Children's drawings have been appearing everywhere. In fact, I wonder if this place wasn't maybe born from drawings. Of course, like, it's never gonna tell us a thing. But hey, when you're here, what else can you do but speculate? And speculation is fun. That's one of the ways that this makes its premise work, you know? These times where you're not just trying to accomplish an objective, the times where you're just rolling through and going with the flow. Because when you get right down to it, there's a sense of wonder in all this, a sense of awe. Wondering where all this came from is part of the appeal. Oh, I get it. Inside the castles is the party room. Okay, but we do have this central lane, and I want to know what's through that big archway, because I don't believe it's where we came in. Oh god, like, this doesn't... It's weird. This room is huge. In fact, it even sells that illusion by making the ceiling tiles that much larger. When you really look at them, they're gigantic. But then you start running towards a door and realize, I'm not making nearly as much progress as I feel like I should be. And there's our door to the maze room. Thankfully, the light indicates that we are absolutely done with that. No, I'd almost forgotten. We are looking for our generator. The way out, the real way out, was right there in front of us at the beginning, which is actually another really cool change from the earlier maps. Where before, we spent our entire time desperately looking for an elevator. We knew it was at the end of our journey. Here, it was right there in front of us all along. We just had to unlock it. Well, I don't know what this thing is supposed to be, but we've seen a toy giraffe before. Oh, look at this. Look at these floors. Look at this creature. It looks concerned. I love this idea that these different realms are borrowing from each other. I mean, it's like memories scattered around. You might look back to, say, a birthday that was really special and remember everything about the really cool place you got to go to, but you may not remember what age you were turning. That's what this feels like. It's a whole bunch of childhood joy. And it's like it knows it's recreating an emotion. It knows what it wants. Whether or not this is horrifying depends on whether that's a nose or a mouth. I hear the generator. There it is. There it is. What a load off, huh? How many generators are there? Activate all Playrooms generators. But as I was trying to say, it really does feel in a lot of ways like it knows it's trying to create the emotion of childhood joy. It's just taking images that it's seen in relation to that and applying them haphazardly. And we need to find our way back now into the Pastel Room because we are certainly not exiting through the maze. This actually, I don't think, should be too hard to navigate because ultimately it's a big square room with reliable doors. And a new thing. Okay, let's look around here since there's no more pressure. This red checkerboard. And it always concerns me when I can see a light turn on. Kind of adds to the illusion I always have that I've seen something go around a corner. I kind of admire the restraint on this. There has been no indication that we are being watched, that there's anyone else here at all. Except for that one security camera at the beginning. But then again, what's that to anyone? I mean, for all we know, it's as fake as those speakers. I feel like there's gotta be an exterior door here somewhere. There's just so much open space. Okay, here's another little bit of Long Islander lore for you that some of you will point at the screen like Leonardo DiCaprio in that one movie. So, when I was I think I was 4 or something, I had my birthday at a place called Wood Kingdom, and it was pretty much just like this, except instead of castles, it was all just stuff made of wood. Just all different play sets. Do you want to know what's to the left and right of it in the same little center? Laser Kingdom, which is laser tag, and Shed Kingdom. You can buy sheds there. Very strange mismatch. I don't know if I want to know what's behind the curtain. But obviously I'm going to try and peek. Oh, it won't let me. So much darkness. A cluster of balloons in a corner in the dark. New phobia unlocked. You know, incidentally, the creepiest thing about Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is Pirate's Cove. Really, I think the curtain is the creepiest thing about any Chuck E. Cheese style establishment. Because the curtain may be closed, but you know what's back there in the dark. Anyway, I've had to find a lot of things to talk about over the course of this video, and I'm really hoping I find a door soon. Oh, it may not be complicated to navigate, but I forgot one thing. This place is gigantic. And this carpet that seems to appear almost in all sections kind of has me worried that this is going to come out someplace close to the maze. Also, fireworks. Were I a scientist, I would have to experiment. Can this place burn down? Is it flammable? And what would happen? Hey, there's a light. That'll guide us out. Leading to the sky rooms, meaning this is probably... Yep, this is where we entered. Just gotta work our way in reverse. What is that? A crib. Just a crib left here, and... I'm asking myself the same question that I ask for everything like this, which is that someone's crib in particular? Either taken directly or an image of it? Or is it just, like, basically imitating a crib? Nashi. Does that mean something, or are you just putting letters on a wall? Either way, it had me excited for potentially a way out, but it seems like we're not going to get that lucky just yet. Hey, at the very least, this means we get to explore a little more of this, right? Wait, have I come from this way? Bunk beds. Talk with me. It's okay. I think the most interesting thing about this map is just speculating on how it arrives at certain images and ideas. Talk with me, it's okay. It's like it took the inspirational words that would be on the wall of a classroom or a child's room. But instead of one of those platitudes like that, it's more like something a mother might say to comfort their child. There was certainly always so much more. Go to sleep. You know, I'm starting to think that I had actually gotten really lucky. What is... This must be where the elevator is! Or rather, obviously it's where the elevator is. It must be where those gates open to. Trying to get closer to that isn't going to help us right now. We just need to find a way out. That's all we need to worry about. Maybe easier said than done. I got so lucky in finding the generator as quick as I did. And then the door to the next room after that? Huh. The transition from green to gray concrete suddenly feels so hostile. And green sky? Well, it was fun while it lasted. You're just sitting there watching. Look at that. In what feels like 3 steps, we've gone from one side to the other. Imagine seeing someone staring back. Okay, the green sky rooms. Interesting twist. On a personal level, this might be one of the creepiest rooms we've seen yet. The yellow sky, the purple sky. Oh, it's all just here. But I think this is where we entered. Wait, so does that mean that it's like statistically improbable that we've only seen blue the entire time we were here? Oh well. TheToysRoom is going to be the easiest thing to get us back to the start, so I'm happy with that outcome. After how much time I spent in the Pastel Rooms, I never thought that emerging from this little house would be the real end of the journey. Or at least I sincerely hope it will be. At the very least, I'm grateful that we have the achievement to confirm that we really did get everything. Yeah, we just have to make our way back. It honestly feels like I'm replaying a game I played years ago when I see this room. I started recording at like 3 a.m. It's now about 8 a.m. But here we are. And here you are. All 5 lights lit. The pink one was always on, which I guess sort of implies that there is a generator somewhere. Not that it matters. Maybe even this is just pretending to know what a generator does. After all, they don't seem to be connected to anything. Another room? Discover the secret behind the garage door. Escape room. Well, wouldn't be an escape without running. Oh, this hallway makes me feel like running. But if we're doing so, we may want to watch our step and be thankful that we're running downstairs and not up. You know, after not only months away, but hours and hours trapped in this cycle, hearing that feels like hearing the voice of someone we haven't seen in decades. I should have known. But I'm pulling towards this way. You know, just this once, I will trust an exit sign. I hadn't realized from those observation windows, but the carpet makes a return. came and went. An ambient choir for the first and last time. Thank you. Come back soon. I might wait a bit. Look at this. It's like folding up like terrain. That plant growing up into the clouds. All those branching paths, not unlike our own experience here. And all of it color-coded, too. Let's go. We're like a baby crawling. $188. Going up. Oh, hey, look. I saw that before. There's just a little mouse hole up on the ledge. I wonder if there was actually a way to reach it. Given that we had to go all the way around, I imagine maybe there was. But I'm not gonna worry about that right now. This was a really, really great follow-up. It's just, it was brought down so much by losing like 2.5 hours trying to find all those keys. And really, even a majority of that was trying to find the last key. That was really annoying and really unnecessary. Well, really, that's not entirely true, because it did enable one unique feature of this map that the other two didn't have, which is that it is truly open. I mean, the others were open too. You could, like, backtrack and stuff, but this wasn't divided by any elevators. There's only the one. There's endless ability to go back and forth. Nothing ever blocks your progress, and it's not a linear progression of levels. Each section was unique and had access points to other areas. And that was definitely a worthy experiment. Having taken the experience as a whole, I think the keys are a total misfire, but you can fix the whole thing with a single tweak of just having them make a sound or something, just something to indicate when you're close. And it would have saved a lot of time. But all in all, I am super excited to see what comes next, and clearly they haven't abandoned the core ideas that make Dreamcore what it is and make it stand out in a really saturated market as a shining gem. And now's usually where I'd give the outro, but, well, it ain't over till it's over. We should know that by now. God, I just felt my shoulders relax. I can't tell if we're even moving. We're moving. And that's the end, so I suppose I've already given my closing thoughts. This was a really good time, and I can't wait to come back for the next one. In spite of the frustrations, this was really inspired and cool, and there is so much to read into. I really do think that design-wise, this is probably my favorite so far, and it is up against some fierce competition because I really, really like the others. But there's just so much to look at, so much variety, and it requires so much engagement from the player, which I think is a really, really good change. This music feels like such a reward after all we've been through. And so appropriate because it's distant and nostalgic, like a comforting memory. And we've been through so much, and I feel exhausted, but the whole experience was more of a curious stroll. This game is kind of like flipping through an old photo book in that way. I'm just super curious to see what they'll do next. Can't wait to come back. And I'm even more curious to see what that last hidden one is. And If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.